उषा लगी नाही तसं कसं होईल मान अवघडून जाते मान
Hi guys, can you hear me? If you can you give me a quick yes? Thanks. I think we'll start in another couple of minutes. Hi guys, so we are starting in a minute right now. My name is Mayuresh, uh, and I'm co-founder of the company called as Grey Atom, and we essentially would be starting this 10-day boot camp. By the end of this particular session, all the people who have registered would get a clear roadmap of what to expect over the next 10 days. What is it that we are going to cover, and we will be kind of helping you through that very clearly. Great. So today we also have with us, we also have with me Kritika. She'll also be helping us with the session. Today we're going to keep it for 60 minutes, and 60 minutes is what is going to be the standard duration. This is going to be from 7 to 8 every evening for the next 10 days, next 10 weekdays to be very specific. So just getting a few chats. We just waiting for next couple of minutes more. Let me raise my audio. Let me just check. I think I'm getting some messages that there is no audio. Are you guys able to hear me? Yeah. So I think I'm getting a lot of yes from a lot of people. Thank you so much. So I think we will just get started in the interest of the time. It is already 7:04. So awesome. Thank you so much for joining in for this particular session. So I'll just help you with what Grey Atom is all about. Grey Atom, we are a 3.5-year-old company. We are essentially into upskilling people into emerging technologies like data sciences, AI, ML, and we've had a track record of upskilling and placing people in data sciences for a very long time. The two strong programs that we essentially have are in the classroom model, and the second is the online delivery. And the online delivery is getting more and more traction and relevance given the day and the age. Uh, what we've done over the last week or so, very specifically, is that we figured out that there are a lot of people who are essentially locked down, homebound, and essentially want to kind of upskill. So we just opened a part of our curriculum and just want to just give it back and go and reach out to the audience and see how we can help people upskill. Here is what you will definitely get at the end of today and of more specifically the 10 days. A, you're getting access to the platform which has those programs. B, even if you want to upskill yourself in a self-paced and self-study kind of a mode, we'll be helping you with specific resources that if you follow this particular script, you're essentially going to get a large amount of success. So a part of this curriculum not just deals with helping you getting ready with particular topics or any of the subtopics, but more importantly, we've seen people succeed and we've seen people fail, both of them. We just want to bring out those lessons to you very quickly, up and early and upfront, so that you're able to kind of make the most of your time at this point in time. Great. So that's pretty much the thing. I'll just quickly repeat some key things. You're going to have email every single day in your inbox with a URL which says where you need to join. The timing is 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. every single day. Today, I think the mail took a little bit of time to get out of the way. That's why I think we're not having a lot of people to joining in. You will have an access to a specific group. We'll send out the link to you. You can join that particular group and you can raise all queries over there and they will be answered in a time bound fashion. So that's the second promise. Third, you should already have access to the product. You should already have access to the product and the content and everything is kind of loaded over there. Further to which, we will be also sharing a couple of more resources to you, a whole library, a whole video library of videos, which we believe are really good, which are A++ quality. And we essentially, what we'll be also sharing with you is a structured learning path. What you can not exhaust over the next 21 days, but it will take actually a good 4 months if you do it diligently to be able to do that. So we'll be sharing all those resources with you by the end of these 10 particular days so that you are able to upskill yourself in a self-paced way. Great. So we also have with us Kritika, and I'm going to now hand it over to Kritika. And today we're just going to discuss, the things that we just discussed, uh, where you are, where do you want to be, and how you can make that kind of a transition. I am also going to send you a link right now. I'm going to paste it in the chat, and you will all receive it. So this is what we call as the skill survey. Please start filling that out, and we'll just check if you're this is just to understand, this is for us to help you understand where you are, and that will help us tailor the content even more well. So let me hand it over to Kritika. Let me share that link. It's a very short link. It will take less than 3 minutes to fill out all the multiple choice questions, nothing long form. Once you fill that in, great, I think we can just quickly resume thereafter. And Kritika, over to you. I am handing it over to you.
Thanks, Mayuresh.
Awesome.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Are you going to share the link or should I paste it here? I'll share the link here. And instead of me continuing with the session, I would request you guys to quickly go and take 2 minutes, fill in the skill survey, and that's enough for us. And then I take the discussion ahead. You get 5 minutes. Who's timing us? Okay, I'll time. Mayuresh, would you be able to stop sharing your screen? Then I can share mine. Okay. Okay, yeah, quickly put it done when you're done. Oh, super. We have a poll here. So you can respond to the poll instead of putting it in the chat. You want me to reshare the link? Okay, I guess another minute and then we can start. All right, great. I think we have our entries. All right. So, guys, today, as Mayuresh said, I'm really happy that all of us have come together for this because it's a very good time for us to upskill ourselves. It's important to keep learning new things. It's important to stay on our toes, as we say, in the industry. Because things are changing, technology is evolving every day, and and I think all of us are aware about that, and that's why we're here. So without much ado, I'm going to talk about, before I talk about the different roles in the data science industry, I want to really focus on what makes you a better candidate than somebody else, what makes you a better learner in data science than anybody else. So here are some three things that, and this is all on the basis of what we've seen from our learners. This is what we've seen from people who are doing amazing work out there in the industry. So the three things: one, this person is good with the basics. The foundation is clear. You know your basic concepts. Of course, some of us would come up and say, hey, we can Google the basic definitions, the basic concepts later, but let's try to learn the fancier things. But you know, we fail to understand that unless you know the most bottom of the grassroots layer of items, if they are not clear in your mind, the concepts, you will not be able to build upon that. So your basics has to be really clear. You need to identify what is that one thing that you're good at. If I'm talking about data science, it's an umbrella. It's huge. It's an ocean. It has so many things in it. You will be learning a majority of it, but you will need to identify what is it that one thing that I am either inclined towards or I'm good at, and hopefully both of them are the same things. Am I someone who's good with the business side? Am I really good at coding? Am I good at just communicating that to the stakeholders? What is it that I'm good at? You need to identify that, and I think this is something that applies to in general learning, that you work on your basics first. You need to identify what is the one strength you have, and then you keep learning more. The third thing is ability to learn quickly. Of course, you have to be really flexible there. You can't be like, ab to mujhe sab aata hai. You can't be like, I know everything. I'm already good with my concepts. I'm doing great projects, and I can go out there and I'm done. No, believe me, I know people who are in the industry and who are doing some really, really good work, very senior positions, innovating, being very creative, but they're still learning. They're still trying to upskill themselves. They're still open to other person's perspective, what else is happening. They're ready to evolve, they're ready to change. You need to have that in you 100%. And I think this is the time where you make sure you're on top of your learning, right? So while I'm still talking about what makes you a better candidate or a better a more I think a better performer in the field of data sciences, I'm still talking about that, I want to talk about learning in general. How learning as a process is something that we take very lightly. Some of us learn better, some of us find it really hard. We put in so much effort, we sit for hours, we practice, but we still don't manage to perform as well as somebody else who hasn't worked for that many hours. Well, the difference is that person probably understood how to bifurcate the content into three things. One is facts. You need to identify what the facts are, and you have to learn them. Dates in history have to be learned. You can't do anything about it. Then there are concepts. Concepts have to be understood. You can't mug up concepts. You have to 100% understand why, how, where, when it can be applied, everything. And the third is processes that you need to practice. When you're learning anything in data science, you will need to look at all the three components. I'm going to say it again. The first is facts, things that you need to mug up and be absolutely clear about. Concepts that you need to understand, you cannot mug up. And the third is process that you need to practice. And believe me, when you have all the three come together, that's yourself will be able to apply your knowledge really well everywhere. You'll be able to do projects independently. You will be able to really look at business problems and give innovative solutions, have a more effective solution. So yeah, this is definitely something you need to look at. Now I'm going to go back to one of my slides like this. So data science, as I said, is a big umbrella, right? And it has very different types of roles in the industry. Our industry is still evolving. There's still a lot of confusion around what the correct job description is. There's a lot of discussion about what really you would be doing if you enter data sciences. So these 5 are the most commonly identified roles that you will see in the when you start applying or when you start reading more about data sciences. These 5 are usually the most common, and they are very different in certain ways. But as you can see the image, right? So the image correctly shows how they overlap in certain areas, in technical area, or on the business side, or the engineering part. They really overlap in some ways. And when you start studying data sciences, you will definitely need to identify where is it that I want to go. How am I planning to decide my channel of growth? What is going to be my goal? Do I want to be an analyst? Do I want to be an ML engineer? That is something you will have to look at. But these 5 are the most distinct. These 5 are the most distinct roles that you will see. All right. I told you JD is a myth. Our industry is still trying to understand what data sciences are. A lot of companies are applying, they're hiring, they're applying the knowledge, the technology, but they themselves are trying to really fit it in the right box. When they're trying to hire someone, they're still trying to identify what kind of skill set am I really looking at. Of course, it's evolving. Of course, the industry is going towards the right side, but this gives us the opportunity to learn multiple things and really apply that, bring all of them together and apply. So it gives us an opportunity when the industry itself is a little confused. Okay, now what is required? I think there's some questions coming in the chat. I will take them. I'll just go through the important parts first, and then I'm going to take all the questions. You can keep sending them in. All right, so after you know data sciences, what do you need to do to really get noticed? Here are some things that I personally encourage all of our learners to really be on top of. One is portfolio projects. You can learn all you want. You can come from a non-coding background. You can come from a pure coding background. You could have 10 years of experience. You could be a fresher. What really matters is whether you can do the job or not. After studying data sciences, can you do the job or not? It won't matter what background you come from. If you can really prove that you can apply the skills, if you can understand the business problem, convert that to a data science problem, you're good to go. So what do we do for that? Portfolio projects. Portfolio projects can literally be something that you start working upon from day one. You need to, so say if there are 10 people who apply for a job or are looking to join a particular organization, what makes you better than the other person? All of you are doing the same projects. All of you have the same skill set. All of you are from, say, whichever college. Say if you all are from Grey Atom, how will a recruiting manager know that you are better than the other person? It's your projects. It's independent, it's creative, it shows all the skill sets you have. And the more detailed they are, the better it is. So portfolio projects is definitely something you'll have to keep looking at throughout the process. Now, your projects have to be presentable. You made the project, ghar pe rakha hai. It doesn't make sense, right? It's sitting on your laptop. Nobody can access it. They don't know what you've done. Your projects have to be updated on GitHub, and you need to make sure it's in a very presentable format. It's in a manner that even an HR can look at it and they'll know, okay, fine, this person probably has the basic skills I'm looking at. Who's drawing on the screen? All right. So that's your projects. Resume, please please, it's super important to have a really impactful resume that is not 5 pages long, that does not have every detail about you, about your marital status and your children. It should be really professional. It should talk about your work. It should talk about your projects, your skills, your experience, what makes you the best professional out there. That's what your resume should be about. Well, LinkedIn, I think I use LinkedIn more than Facebook, Instagram, any of those, because LinkedIn is the place to be. It's where you connect with all the professionals from the industry. It's where you get to know what's happening. How is the Indian market different from the US market or other markets? What's the latest thing? How else can you perform better? What are the opportunities out there? And going back to interacting and networking with the right people. And believe me, your network, this network web that we make, that acts as a big cushion for you when you want to transition to a different industry, when you want to change your jobs, when you want to do something innovative. This mesh really helps you bounce back. So LinkedIn, definitely. LinkedIn, if you have a really active, updated LinkedIn, it will act really well for you to get good jobs, apply for jobs, or even have recruiters approach you for jobs. So definitely LinkedIn is something that I personally look at as a very important online platform. So yeah, these two are like, I mean, I almost have a learner's tattoo it on their hands. Have your LinkedIn, your GitHub, and about your projects. These have to be tattooed on your arm. That's really your professional side. All right. So a typical hiring process in the industry, how does that go? Well, the typical hiring process sometimes includes a hiring challenge. In fact, oftentimes it includes a hiring challenge. It could be an assessment. It could be a small project. They'll give you a small business problem and they'll expect you to convert that into a data science problem, which can be followed up by, it will be followed by a technical interview. HR round, but the main round in this scenario would be your hiring challenge. It would be the project that you're asked to solve. Sometimes they allow you to take it home, work on it for a week and come back. At other times they give it to you, they administer it only when you are in their office. But hiring challenge is common. There are hackathons. How many of you know about hackathons? I mean, I want you people to respond to this. Have you heard of hackathons? Okay, great. So we know, okay, there are people who, Nupura has been a part of it, great. So hackathons are a very good platform sometimes to get hired. For organizations, they arrange for hiring hackathons. The best teams directly go for a face-to-face interview. Then there are some companies which organize for assessments. They literally float the assessment. Whoever cracks or gets the top scores, they go for the next round. So these are also some ways that they hire for data scientists. But definitely there will be a challenge. It's not like the quintessential interview where you just apply, they call you for a face-to-face and you're sorted. There will be an assignment. There will be an assessment. Well, here are some of the places where our grads are working. These are some of our hiring partners. Not just these, actually, there are a lot more. But these are all definitely places where our learners are working. And they've come back and they've hired for, more of our Gradatom learners have been hired by alumni members. We've heard some of the names, right? I think a majority of them. Okay, I think I'm gonna take some questions. Or actually, I'm gonna let Mayuresh take over and then he can take the questions. I think technically he'll be the right person for this. Let me get Mayuresh back. How do I stop sharing my screen? Okay. Yes.
Right. Thank you so much, Kritika. So, thank you so much, guys. I think I'm going to take over. In the interest of the time, we will just quickly move through a lot of items. The point of today's time that we want to spend with you is not to get directly started with the technicals. I think there is time for that, and we'll be jumping into it as early as tomorrow. This is just some amount of context setting where you exactly know what you're getting into. So I think I'm probably going to touch upon a few things again. What Kritika also spoke about. So essentially, I think what is it that market wants. Um yeah, I want to be a data scientist. A lot of you want to be data scientists. What is it that the employer? What is it that the market really wants? And if we can just quickly look at that in three keywords. One, market needs practitioners. Can you solve their problems? Can you solve their problems? They need practitioners. They don't need someone who can theorize or communicate concepts. They need people who can practice and solve people's problem. You need to have breadth. You need to be able to right from data cleaning, massaging, right up to model building, to deployment, to communicating with the various stakeholders in the team, outside of the team. You need to be able to have that kind of a breadth. And more importantly, you need to have depth. We kind of touched upon all these three ideas just 10 minutes ago, but just quickly touching back on it. And lastly, you need to continuously be able to learn things. See, any library that comes in any programming language, you look at Python, you look at any of the deep learning libraries, everything comes and it has an expire by date. The objective really is to be able to learn how to learn and keep on learning as you kind of go ahead. So this is something that is very, very critical. It is a muscle that you can develop over a period of time. It is not something that is very hard to kind of develop, but you really need to be up to it. I think let's get really into the nuts and bolts. And this is where we are bringing our experience of of having transitioned people into the high-paying careers into data sciences. So this is what we internally call as the 100% recipe, and we also touched upon it in a little bit, but I'm just going to quickly run through it. So how do we know this and why do we know this? Because we've been doing it for some time. We've done a lot of events. By events, we actually run a meetup called as Datagiri. Datagiri is one of the popular meetups that's run across Mumbai and some of the other cities. And we've done this for last 3.5 years. And we've invited a lot of people who are practitioners, who are from the industry, who are there to recruit. We work with a lot of learners. This is a slightly dated number. The number is actually three times more than that. And we've worked with a lot of people who are mentoring, who are teaching, who are in pedagogical positions for a very long time. So we really know what the industry wants, what the academia wants, what the aspirant wants, how does the aspirant learn. And that's where we have come to this particular thing. So I'll just quickly touch upon this particular thing. Number one thing is you need is structured learning. You absolutely have to have a structure when it comes to learning. A lot of times you get this advice that math, stats, probability, calculus is something that is very, very critical. But when do you learn that? Learning some of these things closest to the point of application is one that is going to give you the most kind of benefit. We've done a lot of this, presuming that you are from 10 plus 2 science. You've done a lot of these things in your undergrad curriculum. But again, having the right kind of refresher and then being able to apply it at the right point in time, that is going to give you the right kind of reinforcement. And of course, you need to have a structured curriculum to take you through to really make the most out of any kind of a curriculum. Uh, we believe that at the end of the day, you can take the horse to the water, but you cannot make that horse drink the water. So the student has to absolutely work hard. It's not going to be easy. Let's make it very simple and clear. It's not going to be easy. You need to work hard. But if you work hard, the rewards are there. And that's where I think we believe that there is a methodology where if the student commits himself or herself, I think there are going to be enough clear, distinct, repeatable rewards that we have seen. At the heart of it, in Grey Atom, we have an online product, a platform of our own. This is not a learning management system. This is a product where you can log in, you can consume the content, and you can practice. Most importantly, you can practice. So this is something that we own, and we want to make sure that the students get access to it and they learn through this particular thing. So it is, learning via practice. If you want to, learn a new language, by language I mean a spoken language, you learn by speaking it or trying to speak it. And if you want to learn to write in the new language, a coding language, you learn actually by doing that particular thing. So having a practice centered approach is something that is very, very key and critical. And of course, if you are able to gamify that, if you're able to peg yourself with your peers, awesome experience. I think in our culture, and for that matter in any other culture, the importance of mentors, the importance of guru is absolutely very well established. And this is the same over here. Any platform, any machine is not and will not be able to teach you. You will, at some point in time, definitely need access to some sort of an expertise. When and how does the learning happen? Learning happens when you try to do things and you get stuck. And then someone comes along and does not give you the solution. When you get stuck, and someone who's a mentor who comes along and he does not give you the solution, but he only gives you an approach or shows you the direction that this is where you probably need to probe. That is when the learning and the confidence really comes in. So I think access to the right mentor is something that is absolutely essential. And this is something that we've really built over a period of time because of the industry connects, the kind of webinars and seminars and the meetups that we have done. So that is something very, very critical. Industry projects, we kind of spoke about this already. Very, very critical. There are toy data sets. You can learn with toy data sets. You should practice with toy data sets. Toy, TOY. Chota chota data sets hota hai. Very important. What you really want when you go to the industry is to be able to do industrial grade, production grade work. Because a lot of your constructs that you learn, say in Python, will work well with a data set of a particular size. But the moment the data set goes beyond a particular size, a lot of those things start failing. How do you manage that? How do you handle that? And that's where I think working on industry projects is something that is absolutely critical. We saw about this in much more detail, but the hiring process, there are as many hiring processes as there are companies with its own nuances. We have the common, distilled wisdom of this particular thing. Hackathon is something that is very, very critical. It's simple. The company is going to give you a subset of their problem. Can you solve my problem? If yes, I will hire you. I don't care from which school, from what Ivy League college or common college you are from. Are you able to solve my problem? Yes, you are. That's essentially the foundational stone of all these hiring processes. So how do you make this thing happen and how do you expedite this? Kritika and a whole host of her team members will definitely kind of, get you going over here. Hiring challenges hackathon. So this is just a screenshot. You should definitely have a look at this. And this is about a particular company. So they will do a hackathon where you want to design a Q&A engine. If you can have a look at the screen over here. So they will come with a problem statement. They will give you a data set. They will give you an approach note. And then they will ask you to present in groups and then solo. And this is what exactly happens in the company. This is what exactly happens as the hiring process. So this is just like the proof of the pudding. We spoke about social profiles. We spoke about GitHub. We spoke about having a blog where you're able to express yourself. Why blog is so important is that when you post, when you write something, it actually forces you to think. And if you're not able to write it in a very simple language, it means that you yourself have not understood it. So when you're able to write it, you really kind of know it. And you will come across very strongly in the interview process. So that particular thing. And again, hang out with the right folks, very, very important. So yeah, I think this is pretty much it, very honestly. I just want to very quickly move on to, why do, people succeed? Before that, I think if you can just quickly answer a particular question. I'm going to put out a question over here. And the question is, how many of you are learning alone versus how many of you are learning in groups? So you must have received this in your chat window or a pop-up on your screen. If you can just quickly answer this, it would be awesome. Great. So we have 31 inputs so far. Okay. If you can just quickly chime in, it's like one question. It's not like multiple questions. Awesome. Great. So we have 38 inputs, 38 inputs. Out of 38 inputs, 32 say alone and 6 say groups. 32 लोगों ने बोला है वो अकेला पढ़ाई करना पसंद करते हैं और 6 लोगों ने बोला है कि वो कुछ तो ग्रुप में पढ़ाई करते हैं. So that's it. Great. Perfect. So I'm going to come back to this insight at some point in time, but let's just quickly move ahead. So does the recipe works? Yes. I think you should go and check out the website, and the number of people who have got placed is enormous. And these are over time. This is not something कि एक 6 महीने का purpose patch था. It has been over a period of time. So this 100% works. There are people who have had good salaries, great salary, and unrealistically awesome salaries, all of that. But people get transition because they follow the recipe. They follow the recipe diligently. Of course, there have been people who have won laurels. They have won multiple hackathons, not just the ones conducted by companies for the recruitment purposes, but also the ones on the social platform. And these are actually our students who have ranked on different hackathons. They've got selected as writers on medium.com, on Hacker, or they have started their own YouTube channels. So there have been multiple success stories over here. So I'm going to come to this particular thing. All successful learners, a percentage of learners who put in more than 6 hours a week had 95% and above completion ratio. So 86%. If you put in close to 6 to 10 hours every single week to upskill yourself, you're going to make a success out of yourself. We always mandate a pre-work before every session. Whenever you come for a session, there is a pre-work. Please do that and then come for the session. If you're able to do it, if you're doing that diligently, and the platform tells us if you're doing the pre-work, if you're not doing the pre-work. For the learners who are doing the pre-work, they're getting the result. I think it is something like age-old wisdom that people in our school used to also tell us. And there are clear results. And this is based on data. This is something that we have seen for multiple years now. And this is based on data. Awesome. Everything that you do on the platform is tracked, is logged. So we know what you're doing on the platform. And people who are spending more than 60 minutes per day on this particular platform are definitely making a success out of these their careers. 91% of the visit platform, very important. So we spoke about hackathons, we spoke about Capstone. I'm seeing the questions. If you have any questions, keep on pinging. G Labs is essentially the platform that you have an access to. It's the online training learning platform that is proprietary of Creatum. If you do your hackathons, capstone projects, if you do your projects religiously, dedicatedly, you are going to get results. And that's exactly what the data typically tells us. I think let's come to a part where, why people fail. More often than not, I think what we should do in our lives, in any aspect of our lives, I think it is what we should not do plays maybe a critical role. So we've also seen people not succeed. And, someone, when the person walks in or is performing in the class or in doing something in projects, in assignments, and we get the early indicators. But there are people who don't make it at some point in time. And why? And this is something, we just wanted to kind of share with you. Don't rush into it. I think if anyone is telling you, learn data science, AI, ML in 7 days, 1 month, it's not going to happen. See, it's not going to happen. Let's be 150% honest with ourselves. It doesn't happen. We've seen people make this transition. 7 दिन में कुछ ना होता. You have to really work hard for 6 months to be able to really make something out of yourself in this particular field. And that's why we just, like be kind to your future self. Give yourself at least 6 to 9 months to upskill yourself. 7 days, 3 months, all those things, they don't work, and that's just a reality. So don't force yourself. Don't be harsh on yourself. See, practice. I think this is generally when it comes to studying any languages, specifically coding languages. Initially, it's a pain. 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, 7 days, 15 days, 1 month. It's really painful. But the moment you're able to break that barrier where you're able to practice on your own, once you reach a point of sustainable practice, that's when you are on your own, and then you're able to gain momentum. Initially, it's a rut. We've seen like people who give up on their journeys, who give up on their dreams with respect to data science, are the ones who give up in the first 15% of their journey. तो पहले 15-20 तक का आपको आपका हाथ पकड़ के एक जर्नी में आपको आगे लेके जाने का बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है. उसके आगे आप आपका रास्ता खुद से निकाल सकते हो. I'm sorry, I'm like switching between languages, but I'll also repeat that in English. Bulk of the attrition when it comes to career transitions happens in the first 15% of the journey when the person has just started his upskilling. So it is very important to cross that barrier and reach that point of sustainable practice. So it is about those small wins every single day, which then you win the week, then you win the month, that kind of a thing. Yeah. So that's where we came to. I think 30, I think people are still voting on it, and 53 have voted. 44 have said alone, and 9 have said group. It is 44:9. See, that's the thing. We uh, we all have been conditioned to learn separately. Whether it is school, class, whatever it is. Data science is a team sport. When you work in teams in the organization, it's a team sport. You're not going to know absolutely end to end of the whole pipeline, whether it is cleaning, deployment, model building, refreshing, production aspects, data infrastructure. You're not going to know everything. You will know probably a very little part of it. So it's a team sport. Same is applicable to learning. You cannot learn this whole thing on your own. You need, I'll tell you a little secret, and this is the most important secret that you take today and go back home. The secret is find another 4 people with yourself who are as enthusiastic about making a career in data science as you are. Find another 4 people, get along with them. I mean, get along with them over the net these days. I mean, the social distancing aspect and everything. But yeah, get all the 4 people in the room, get all the 5 people in the room, and that's it. If you have 5 really motivated people, you're kind of winning this particular thing. Got it. There's one more question that's going to pop up on your screen. If you can just quickly take that, that would be like awesome. So one of the popular ways of learning a lot of things these days is doing a lot of hackathons, by doing a lot of competitions on Kaggle, competitions on some of the popular Indian portals. So the thing over here is that competitions they are competitions. They serve a very different purpose in life. So don't really build on them. I think just stay, work solo, work in team, and just kind of quickly move on. Great, awesome. So I've noted one particular question. Please respond to it. And I just want to like ask a couple of questions upfront. Are there jobs right now? Hello? Are there jobs right now in the uh, day and age of this particular pandemic? How many of you have this question? If you can just quickly say yes. Yeah, great. So I think it's a very fair question to ask at this point in time. That are there really any jobs at this point in time in the market? So I'll again go back to data. So Kritika is part of a team which is called as Career Services, and it's a very large team internally at Grey Atom. She leads a team of multiple in-house and external resources. And even as on this week and the last week, we are able to successfully place people in the data science roles, in the data science profile. Of course, there has been an impact. There's no denying that the momentum maybe has been curtailed, but absolutely we are able to place. There are jobs, there are roles for this particular thing. Maybe the quantity has kind of gone down, let's be honest, but there are roles, profiles, openings for data sciences even at this point in time. So great. I am seeing some of the responses for this particular thing. For the have you started a massive online program? Basically, अगर आपने कभी Coursera शुरू किया है, Udemy शुरू किया है, ये program शुरू किया है, but I have not completed that particular program. So if you have completed, if you have abandoned, click the abandoned option. If you have completed this particular, if you have started the program and completed, click the completed option. So far, all the responses that I'm getting are saying that I have started the program, but I have abandoned this particular thing. So that essentially just brings me to the last point, where essentially we typically know why people are stuck. People are stuck because they're not practicing, they don't have mentors, they're not able to build a portfolio. They've either just watched some videos, they're learning alone, or they are possibly consuming some online content which is not really helping them at this point in time. So that's where essentially Grey Atom comes into place. And we've seen this journey for so many learners over a period of time that, we are and we can be the catalyst which helps you essentially move ahead. So at this point in time, if any one of you has any questions, awesome. We'll be very happy to take it. And that would be awesome. So I'm just going to open this up also for Kritika. And we'll be very happy to take some of these questions. Let me just see if we have any questions. So I think with respect to, I'm seeing some things with respect to creating Slack groups and creating Discord groups. So guys, that's exactly what we're saying. You will get an invite you'll get an email with an invite to a Telegram group. And the Telegram group is essentially where we will be having free-flowing conversation about all the people, all the aspirants who are completely focused and who want to make that kind of a transition. So that's in the pipeline. So don't worry, because you will be able to get maybe 50, 60 people over here, and there's going to be a large number that's going to just come out from all over the place to that particular group. I have never coded before. Is this course for me in that case? So it is from Nupura Tambe. Great. So Nupura, here is the thing. The transition from a coder to non-coder and transition from a coder to a data scientist. Let me make it as a two-step process. From non-coder to coder and from coder to data scientist. These are two transitions. So, and it's a long journey, and it's a very honestly long journey. So I would genuinely recommend you to have a look at a profile on LinkedIn, which is for a person by the name of Sagar Dauda. And I'm going to type out his name. So Sagar Dauda is a person. He essentially has had a very interesting journey. He started off as a very non-technical person into sales. Then he got into pre-sales. Then he got into technical pre-sales. And when he came to us, he was into technical pre-sales. He was not a tech person. He was into technical pre-sales. And then he finally made a transition into data science. So he made that journey from non-coder to coder, from coder to a data scientist. It is that much more harder, nonetheless not difficult. This person at this point in time works with a data science company, and he's in a very strong position. You should check out his LinkedIn profile. What are we going to learn in these 10 days webinar? So this is from Ghana. He has pinged me privately. So I am going to send this out to you, to all of us over an email, and you will receive a nice table of what exactly we are going to cover. What are the prerequisites for this particular course? The prereq for this particular course is honestly loads of enthusiasm. If you have some background in coding, that would be awesome. If no, that's fine. But essentially, I think just I think the key value that you should be taking from this particular thing is that you're getting started and you're getting a very strong direction from this particular program. I have come from a biotech background. I don't have an experience in coding and the languages. Does the course line up will help me out? So Ankit, couple of things. We've had people from uh, completely non-tech backgrounds who have made this kind of a transition, who are from some sort of a sciences. So definitely you can. It is that much more tougher. I think what I would definitely and very strongly suggest is that Ankit, if you can go to the website and just ping on the chat over there, I think someone will reach out to you and give you a more detailed kind of a breakdown over here, where we are able to map out your background to this particular thing. How can data science help me in marketing analytics? I personally have worked in marketing analytics for 3.5 years, and I can give you a very deep down detail over here. So all your Salesforce effectiveness, promotional response modeling for pharma companies, for retail companies, CPCG, I've done it all. So data science, more than the time when I work now, is like super relevant. Depends on what company you are, what size, what sector, what problem you're solving. It can be extremely relevant. There are companies and practices within the company, services that are built on this particular thing. Great. Kritika, do you want to take a few questions? Okay, awesome. I think we are at 7:55. I think I'll take some of these questions. In case people you need to drop out, just let me know.
Yeah, I was not being able to go unmute. I was not being able to unmute myself. Yeah. So I think there was one question, Mayuresh, that came up about an infographic resume.
Right.
So yeah, it really helps. But okay, so there's something that I recently came across. Somebody who was applying had an infographic resume on GitHub. GitHub allows you to make a profile, a digital profile. That adds a lot of value to what you are doing, because you can, in a more creative way, show what all the skills you have. But we are still traditional in many ways, and that cannot be your only profile that you're sharing. You definitely have to have a very formal document, a resume, but you can hyperlink that to your online resume, to your infographic GitHub profile, and that's definitely going to be a good plus. It will bring you brownie points. I'm working in data analytic field. Does data science help me in promotion? Data analytic field definitely brings more value, and it would be very easy for someone like you to transition into data sciences, because you have this background, you work with data. Yeah, definitely, it's a plus for you. I don't see any other.
We have just one more question. It is, will we be doing any capstone project or any data science project in 10 days? So no to a capstone project, but we will be doing 3 mini projects. So a lot of people have actually pinged me solo. So I'm just copy pasting those questions also, and then the responses. Is it mandatory to take up masters or some long-term course from Grey Atom to get successful? So this is a question from Gana, Gana. So I'm going to respond this. We have a program which is for 7 months, 9 months, and 11 months. Uh, the the objective over here is that we are going to leave you at the end of this particular 10 days with a self-sustaining track where you will be able to study on your own. This is not an attempt where we are positioning any of our programs. We are just here to kind of help given the unprecedented time we are in. Nonetheless, if you're more interested about those particular programs, we're very happy to answer all the questions around that. Okay, I am working in data analytic field, and does data science help me in promotion? Got it. So this is from Suraj Soni. So great. So Suraj, from what I understand is, see, data science is something. It's a skill that is going to be of relevance and help, and it's going to probably define your career for the next half a decade. And after which, again, you will need to upskill because I think that everything changes. I mean, that's just a cycle. That's life. Um, so 100%, I think you should not look at doing any program from anywhere to just get one promotion. You are here to change the trajectory with respect to your career. आप आपके करियर की दिशा और गति दोनों बदलने के लिए कुछ करो. So please think something that is mid to long term. Don't think something that is just going to get you the next promotion over here. Lots of questions. What are the costs for this bootcamp? No cost, zero cost for this particular bootcamp. So please attend all the next 10 days. Give your best. Take everything that's coming your way. There are zero costs. Just make sure that you're spreading this to all the people who are your friends and who are attending this particular thing. Most high-end companies ask for PhDs for masters for a place in their companies. So this question is from Avinash Topo. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Most high-end companies ask for PhD for masters for a place in their companies. Awesome, great question. So let me answer this very succinctly. The companies, and I presume you are from India, the companies, and let me answer this for India. In India, essentially the BFSI sector, banking, financial services, insurance, the pharma sector, the retail, and consumer goods. These are essentially the companies and sectors where there is money, where the analytics, data sciences, AI, ML is effectively being used. It does not mean that other companies are not doing it, but these are essentially bulk recruiters. These are the bulk hires. The kind of problems that these companies are solving in this particular country, it does not require a PhD to solve them. So there is a retail demand that is currently unmet. There is a retail demand that is currently unmet. If you're working in a banking, financial services, insurance kind of a sector, there are use cases which are related to fraud with respect to regulatory framework, with respect to upselling, cross-selling, marketing analytics. A lot of common use cases which still need to be very effectively catered in this particular country. So the high-end companies, I think we are not doing anything which is a man on the moon kind of a thing or a driverless car. That is typically the case in the US, and those are very limited. We are solving retail use cases. We are solving very hard problems in the Indian context. Our challenges are different. If you go to US, if you go to Europe, if you go to different countries, their challenges are different because there the data infrastructure is strong, the solutioning infrastructure is weak. We have a very big data problem, and we are solving a different problem. So just to answer your question, PhD is not required, master's is not required for the majority of recruiters that are in this particular country. Kritika, would you want to take this? Is having a publication necessary? Great. So let me take one more quick question over here. I work as an Android developer, but what I have seen on sites like LinkedIn, that there are no jobs as fresher and how to get one. So I presume your question is that you are currently an Android developer, you want to get into data sciences, but there are not enough jobs for freshers. for data sciences. So let me just answer that quickly because we've already crossed 8 over here. So the people who are making transitions from their current roles into data sciences, most of them, bulk of them, are people with some experience or experienced professionals with 0 to 1 year experience also will count. But people who are working professionals who are doing some kind of a thing, most of them have software background. The companies which are absorbing you, they also understand that you are coming from that kind of a background. So it's a given, it's a very well understood kind of a reality. So um, if you're an absolute fresher, that is fresh out of college, if you're an absolute fresher, you're fresh out of college, then the most probable route for you to make a career into data sciences might be to start with an internship and then get into a job. To start with an internship and then get into a job. But if you're a lateral, if you're working as an Android developer somewhere else, it means that you have knowledge of some amount of front end, some amount of back end. You know how to work in organizations. You know technology, coding languages. So when you are absorbed in a company for a data science roles, they will respect and give due weightage to your previous experience, which is even if it is Android, iOS, native, anything, it does count. Pratik, I want to become ML engineer. Please tell who to step in it, how to step in it. So definitely this whole thing is about it. So I'll definitely, I think just be plugged in. You will be receiving mails. Be diligently coming at 7 p.m. every day to basically make that transition. What are the cost of boot camps? So there is no cost to boot camp. I'm just typing it out because VKM is not able to kind of hear the audio that is coming from my side. Okay, perfect. There are a few questions. I have experience of more than 10 years. Do you think it will be advisable for career transition to data science at this point in time? Rahul Anand. Rahul Anand, I think it is a very, very relevant question. It is an awesome question. So I think let me spend 1 minute on this particular thing. Rahul, you will be surprised at the number of people in our cohorts who are having experience of more than 7 years. Uh, See, there's a very long answer to it and there is a very short answer to it. Data tells us that a large number of people who have been working for last 10 years in tech roles or even in non-tech roles are finding more and more relevant and more and more useful to kind of upskill themselves and switch their careers. Uh, it is like start preparing now so that I think, and probably I think, with 10 years of experience, you've seen multiple cycles in life. So it is something that absolutely, I think more than at any point in time, it is necessary for you to kind of, make sure that you are ready for the future, upskilling yourself so that you're kind of going. Damini Rastogi, will I get an interview call after doing 10 days program as even one has knowledge? Getting interview calls is different. So, Damini, that is not the purpose of this particular 10 days. We are not, there are going to be career sessions, definitely for a fact, but we are not going to be, it doesn't happen, it doesn't work that way. You cannot make someone like something in 10 days. 10 दिन में नहीं होता है वो. So the answer is clear, no over there. I think the realistic expectation to have from these 10 days is to, as I said, most of the people lose their way in the first 10 to 15% of their journey. And we are here to handhold you in that first 10 to 15% so that you are able to make the subsequent journey either on your own or you can choose to do it with us. What is the most absolute necessary skill to be present in a data analyst? Kritika, if you're there, can you take this question? Okay, I think for some reason Kritika has kind of gone silent. Uh, I think Avinash has a general question, that is the quarantine thing going to affect the jobs in the future in time to come. He is a third year student. Uh, Short answer, yes, most likely. Fact of the life, however harsh it is. Great. I think I'm getting a lot of questions on private channel. Um, I am trying to take as many questions as possible. I'm maybe going to take one more question over here. I'm currently studying automobile engineering and want to upskill in the same field by getting into autopilot development. How can this help me? Awesome. This is from Akash. Akash, there are people who have come from telecom sector and whose experience for last 14 years has been building telecom towers in African countries, and they have gone on and upskilled themselves in data sciences. There are people who are vice presidents in a company called as Reliance Jio who have come and upskilled themselves and found a very relevant use case for them. So there is always a use case. I think you understand your industry the best, and maybe I think the best use case that you will find over there is for an embedded kind of a system or IoT based application. But the data science is always going to be the foundation. It's going to be the bedrock on which everything else will be built. Is there going to be a certification for this bootcamp? Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Kritika is asking to unmute.
Yeah, Mayuresh.
Sorry, Kritika.
No, that's all right. I wasn't being able to respond.
I'll just take one last question. I'm really sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah. This is a question from Sarah. I am working as an Oracle DBA. I do not want to join data science job as a fresher. How to include this in my resume? Awesome. Kritika, do you want to take this question from Sarah?
Yeah, would you be able to repeat it?
Yeah, I'm going to just paste it once again on the common channel, but she is Oracle DBA. I presume she has a fair amount of experience
Right.
and she wants to
Sarah's question. Right. I do not want to join data science as a fresher. How to include this in my resume?
Yes.
Right. So I think this question, Sarah, thanks for asking. It goes out to a lot of people out there who have some experience. You cannot get rid of the experience you have because every knowledge is important. When you're moving to data science, you just try to draw common strings. If you have experience, if you worked with Oracle DBA, then you will have to, in your resume, you'll have to identify what is common and how your previous knowledge can be applied in what you're looking forward to. Like, I'm going to give a very different example. Say, if I'm a mathematician, right? Then my knowledge in statistics and the skills that I've developed over there will be applicable when I'm moving to data sciences. Right? So that is how you bridge it, and that's how you show your past knowledge and experience on your resume. Was I able to answer? Mayuresh, do you want to add to that?
Absolutely. I think I'll just add a couple of quick points. Here's the thing. The company that is hiring you is the bulk of the transition that is happening into data sciences roles are people who have done some sort of a programming or have done some sort of a informatica, ETL, SQL, or any kind of a SAP, that kind of a tool. So they exactly know what are the skills that these kind of career profiles bring. So it is not that they are not valued. Absolutely. How does the transition look like? Let me ask a very relevant and a practical question. How does the transition look like from a monetary perspective? Does it mean that you will have to take a pay cut to make a transition into data sciences or something of that sort? Well, that really depends on what kind of an experience, the number of years of experience that you've had. If at this point in time, if you're like a really high flyer in Oracle DBA, Informatica, there are resources which are very at the expensive end of the spectrum over there. And when they make a transition into data sciences, there may be instances, a few odd and a rare case, where they may need to take a slight bit of pay cut. Let me take a specific example. I know of a person who used to work for a company called as MathWorks, which essentially has a product called as MATLAB, and then with Cisco. And this person made a transition into, Fractal, Cuddle, and a whole host of companies in between. This person did not have has to take pay cut. he was able to move from strength to strength. The reason being, I think, how he came across in the interview process. Once you come across strongly in the interview process, you are able to make that transition that much more strongly. And that's where I think having a deep understanding of that process really kind of helps. Just I think a couple of questions, and Kritika, let's call it a day after that.
Yeah.
I think one is from Zeal Mehta, and the second is from VKM. The question from Zeal is how this particular course will help me in decision making in patent analytics related to pharma and biotech. And secondly, we have a question. I am a recent solar design engineer and have a startup that deals with design and setting up of solar systems for domestic and industrial consumers. I would like to connect with the like-minded people and can be harnessed for this particular thing. Awesome. So for the second question quickly, VKM, I think I'll invite you to be part of that particular group. You will find a lot of people who are aspirants. In case you ever need to hire, please reach out to us. We have a lot of people who are always graduating, so I can help you with that also.
In fact, there'll also be people with relevant background who have worked with the kind of domain he's looking at.
Awesome. So let me just quickly answer this question by Zeal Mehta in a minute, and then over to you, Kritika, if you want to quickly add something over here. With respect to patent analytics and pharma and biotechnology. So here is the thing. Me personally, I've worked with pharma for 3.5 years. I was with a company called as MarketRx, and we were doing a lot of data analytics over there. We focused more and more on, I focused more and more on the marketing analytics part of it. And then on the second later part, I worked on the things which is called as pharmacokinetics. So essentially a lot of data while the drug is essentially getting tested and everything. There are numerous use cases. My knowledge is limited by my understanding of that particular space and my domain knowledge rather. I presume that you have a very deep domain knowledge in these particular fields, and you are very well aware of what are the problems, what are the hard problems that you are trying to solve as an industry. And once you do some amount of general reading on either EBSCO or some of the journals which are popular in your space, you're going to find those problems and you're going to see what is being done to solve those problems. Once you know that, and once you know the algorithms that are used to solve similar problems in other space, you're going to have some of your answers. One of the mentors, advisors to Grey Atom and also instructor at some point in time is someone from a company called as Qure.ai, Qure.ai. Qure.ai is a fractal incubated company. That person has worked with us for the longest time. So there are truckloads of problems that we're solving specifically in medicine, pharma, and pharma by pharma, payer, patient, all the 3 P's over there. So it's a question that you can answer best for yourself. But after having the knowledge of how to solve a similar problem or a different problem in a different domain, you might be able to apply it better in your own field. Kritika, if you want to add something here.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would like to add anything to it as such, except I personally feel data science itself is a really agnostic, is very agnostic in nature. It is being applied to things like education and HR. So pharma is definitely a good place where you can apply your knowledge.
Great, awesome. Thank you so much. So here is what we're going to do. We're going to wrap up the session today. Please watch out for a couple of emailers in your inbox and also an SMS that you will get. That will typically have a link to a group that we all want you to be part of. B, it will kind of outline what is it that we're going to cover over the next 10 days. So we really look forward to having you here. Once you're part of that particular group, you'll also be able to talk to us, raise queries, questions. So awesome. And that's it. Once you quit this particular session, you might be asked for some sort of feedback. So please let us know your thoughts. And great. Stay safe, stay at home, take care of yourself, get enough rest, make sure that you're getting good nutrition, and yeah, consume less news, less of your messengers, stay as cheerful as possible, and just shout out to us if you need anything. Great. Good night, and thank you so much.